Ex-vegans, why did you start eating meat again? I still eat mostly vegetarian food and have done all my life. However, my husband was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis and celiac, which means that a high-fiber/lower iron diet is not an option, and a lot of the substitutes aren't gluten-free. More often than not, when he has meat, I'll leave it or have the veggie equivalent, but there are just not enough hours in the day to make 2 separate lasagnas and sauce, etc. Got a genetic illness which makes me permanently anemic. My body only absorbs a tiny amount of iron from food, and that amount is burned pretty fast. Turns out it doesn't help to cut that tiny amount as well. Also, I didn't replace the meat, I just left it out, so I basically ate less food. Edit. The genetic mutation I have is called thalassemia, specific type, thalassemia beta intermedia. It's pretty common, especially in Mediterranean people. Usually only severe cases are properly diagnosed, since you can't really do more than iron infusions, blood transfusions, etc. Edit. Since some of you don't get it, iron supplements don't work. I get a lot of iron infusions. I need meat to get a lot of iron in me so I can absorb that minimal amount, because my doctor wants me to absorb as much as I can from food. I avoid processed meat, it's usually just a rare beef steak for me. Edit. Since some people wonder why I have thalassemia and am iron deficient. I have no idea about the details, I just know I have thalassemia, 99% sure, and doc says I need iron infusions. Man, that sucks. But from the diet standpoint, most new vegans and vegetarians make that mistake as well. They cut out the meat but then don't put a new source for protein and iron in their diet. I'm glad you got back to a diet that's healthy for you and your body. Less than 3. I'm still as veggie as possible, but I moved to a country where it is 10,000% harder to be vegan, Japan. This is mostly due to not knowing a ton of Japanese and the fact that there is fish or meat in so many restaurant foods, and the culture here isn't like in America where you can ask for items to be removed or substitutions. Not that my Japanese ability would allow me to do that anyway. Even the sauces, like oyster sauce, they're everywhere. I feel you. I'm not vegan, but I can imagine your struggles. The food in Japan was so good, though. That too. And it's pretty much guaranteed to be in every soup stock, because they're usually either pork-based or seafood-based, dashi. And yes, the food is so good. I usually just give the meat to other people and eat extra rice or noodles. I love me some carbs, romantic face. I was using veganism as a guise for an eating disorder for well over a year. When I finally realized I was in trouble, after losing 80 pounds, I went and bought lamb chops and devoured them. Also therapy. Same here. Restrictive prep, heavy diets, and disordered eating are a perfect storm. I did this with keto. It got so bad I was only having 1 meal and a coffee a day, while boxing. Smart. While your opponent is watching your right hand, you splash them with the coffee in your left. I really want this to have gold. Hold on a minute while I figure out how awards work. Made. Edit. Surprisingly easy and painless. I was on a diet for health reasons. When I was told I was allowed to eat meat again, my fridge started looking like a Mexican fever dream. My aunt was a vegetarian for health reasons. The day she got diagnosed with cancer, she went to an In-N-Out. Similarly, my nan, 75-year-old, was vegetarian, but a few days after she lost her daughter, my mom, to cancer, I saw her eating a pork pie. I was horrified and asked her what she was doing. She said she didn't believe in God anymore, so who cared? Update. Since if you asked. My nana was a Christian and believed in God. Her fave animals were piggies. She believed in being kind to animals, hence the vegetarianism, and being a good person would get you into heaven, so refused to eat meat on the basis of staying good with God. She's still obviously kind to animals, but she no longer believes that following the rules by the book will do her any favors anymore. She's 8 now and she's cray-cray and definitely living life to the fullest now. We found a spliff on Christmas Day and a cabinet she claims came from her maid Sheila, also 80, and insists it's medicinal marijuana. Yeah, right. We all love her dearly. I feel like so many people spend so much time treating their bodies like temples thinking they will live forever, that they forget to live in the now. I could be hit by a drunk driver tomorrow and all that healthy living would all be for naught. Live in the now, but with a dose of moderation, and people would live just about as long as if they ate nothing but healthy things. I was vegan for a year when I lived in a big city that had lots of inexpensive options for what one could eat. When I moved to a small town in beef country, the cost of good produce quadrupled, as did the cost of meat substitutes. I quickly learned that if I didn't eat whatever I could get my hands on, I would starve, so I started eating meat again. Some people say food deserts aren't real. They are. There are food deserts in my city. People with no transportation buy what they can get. We are several communities that only have convenience stores within walking or biking distance. No public transportation in my neck of the woods, unless you are disabled. Not me, but my brother-in-law went vegan for a stretch. One of his pet causes is donating blood. As soon as he's able to, he's down at the blood clinic donating again. Anyway, on a vegan diet, his blood iron levels got too low to donate blood. So it was back to meat for him. But his daughter, my niece, is still vegan, and it's driving them nuts, because she'll only eat those vegan chicken nuggets, and they're getting pricey. I was traveling in Africa. Edit. This part of the trip happened to be in Zambia, not that the specific location really matters for the point of the story, and stayed in a small village off the beaten track. I had just arrived, and as the matriarch of my host family was showing me to my room, and helping me get settled in, her boys were out back slaughtering a goat for me. I couldn't turn down that meal, because that goat represented a substantial part of the family's assets. The whole experience made me realize that the social constructs around sharing food are far more important to me than what the food is. If someone is serving it, I will eat it with gratitude. Edit. Yes, my stomach did not handle it very well. That said, my stomach was having difficulty anyway. There were unspeakable things done to the pit latrine. Edit. No, I would not knowingly eat human flesh. Fortunately, societal taboos on this are much more universal than our taboos related to eating goat. That's what the Dalai Lama does. When given a choice, he chooses vegan. If he's a guest, he honors the host by accepting what is served. He is a pretty cool dude, yeah. This is also what the Buddha himself did. He was mostly vegetarian but would accept meat prepared for him. I wanted to see if it made me sick. I've since eaten it here and there, but it's not often. I was vegan, food and otherwise, for near a decade. I'm planning on going back because I can honestly say that I've not been missing out. It's possible to veganize about anything these days. Oh, also, no, it didn't make me sick at all. I was vegan for 3 years and had gone home to my community, which is tremendously poor. To have cold cuts and a bag of Doritos is a luxury. My aunt, who was going blind, made a family feast and everyone came, and she made a very traditional lamb stew. My heart broke when I thought of how much of her income she must have spent to make this possible, and felt like a completely entitled outsider when I told them I was vegan. They couldn't comprehend, when food is so hard to come by, why anyone would choose to not eat any protein available to keep from being hungry. Being vegan comes from a first world position of entitlement. It is a luxury to choose what you eat, when so many eat whatever is available, not out of an ethical decision, but out of necessity. Did you eat the lamb stew anyway? I totally understand you ethically don't think eating animals is right, but I can tell from your post you also very much care for your family's feelings. It must have been a difficult, conflicting situation for you. I didn't eat it. Not then. I wish I would have. It was the internal conflict once I came home. I am ashamed and disappointed that I let the opinion of a community that has no concept of the poverty I come from shape my opinion of what culturally was right. I lost a lot of weight, to the point that people asked if I was okay. I was tired and had low energy. I ended up being anemic. I slowly ended up getting to a point that I started eating meat again. Your experience certainly reflects mine. We went vegan, and involved our doctor in an effort to ensure we were doing it right. We'd tried a vegan lifestyle many years ago when our kids still lived at home, and my husband and younger daughter thrived on it while our older daughter and I struggled with vitamin deficiencies and borderline anemia, and we wanted to be certain we were doing it right this go around. We had blood work drawn to measure nutrient levels, cholesterol, blood sugar, etc. Then we charted our food for a year. 3 blood draws in, and Doc, who praised our menus, pulled the plug as my iron levels and some nutrients plummeted. I wanted this to work as we were committed to eating for planetary health, and my hubby, an amateur chef, learned vegetarian cooking and made delicious meals. His body, as usual, thrived in veganism, mine absolutely did not. I keep reading people who say that going without animal products is healthful for everyone, but twice I tried, and, despite our diet being signed off on by medical experts, failed. Once my nutrient levels were restored, we began reducing animal products in our diet, and I am being monitored as we explore this option, but we just began in January, so I don't have results yet. Hair loss and health issues got worse. I'm fine now. I was vegan for a year due to wanting to eat clean and it backfired. Fairly stupid reason, because I broke up with my ex. I became a vegan to support her, and it felt weird eating meat while she was so against it. When the relation was over, however, I no longer felt the need to support my ex in that way. Thus meat was back on the menu, boys. Edit. Holy shit. THNXS for all the upvotes. Was vegetarian for 12 years. Had a mental breakdown after a death in the family, and instead of drinking or getting high, I went out and got a steak taco. Life is too short to miss out on tacos. Not vegan but vegetarian. I was vegetarian for a good 4 years. Once I hit the 4-year mark, energy was at an all-time low, my whole body felt weak, and the kicker, I had very frequent nosebleeds. It was so often I was used to it for a while. Eventually the nosebleeds came to be too much, and I started eating meat again. Then the nosebleeds stopped altogether. I haven't had a single nosebleed thus far. Mind you, I quit being vegetarian 2 years ago. Not ex-vegan, but ex-vegetarian. I was a vegetarian back in 2011 to 2013 as I found myself eating a mostly plant-based diet with small amounts of fish or chicken. Was never a huge fan of red meat. I was warned by my doctor in 2012 that my protein levels were too low, so I increased my eggs, nuts, beans, and grains. Still wasn't enough though. Ended up being hospitalized in March of 2013 due to my blood pressure dropping way low, as well as my iron levels. Decided to slowly incorporate meat back into my diet, which ended up helping almost every aspect of my health. My nails were stronger, my hair grew faster / looked healthier, and I was better able to maintain muscle mass without struggling to actively keep up my protein levels. I still don't eat a ton of red meat, but man do I love a good, juicy steak on the occasion. I truly believe eating meat again saved my life. Kudos to those who are able to live a vegan/vegetarian lifestyle, but based on my experience, it's not for everyone. What do you think about vegans? Leave a comment. And subscribe to this channel if you want to see more same videos.